continue. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Taylor Wiest, and I'm here with the Independent Study and Mentorship Program today. So first off, I would like to give you an introduction. I am a senior with Frisco High School, and one of the things I love the most in this world is Disney. Cheesy, I know, but very true. And Walt Disney once said, "All the adversity I've had in my life, all my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me. You may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you." And that couldn't be more true. A couple years, I got my personal kick, and ever since then, I've made a vow to myself to really try to live in the moment, because you may not know when that moment will end forever. And in the past, I always try to live like 2 days ahead, you know? I would be under the impression that this doesn't matter right now because tomorrow I'm going to be doing this, so I shouldn't even bother with this. And that's not a good way to live personally, I think. And so now I'm trying to live in the moment, but still keeping my goals in mind, which is why I am a member of STARS Dance Team, DECA Student Council, and the Student Climate Committee. DECA is the business club with our school who runs the school store, so it's great for what I want to go into. I am a 4-year member of the STARS Dance Team, and that is essentially my life along with school. And I was given the privilege this year to become a senior lieutenant, which means we help to lead practices, help get girls to understand the dances, or help with anything else that needs to be done around the team. And it's really a great leadership role, and I'm very happy to have it. And then Student Council and Student Climate Committee help with social work and help to make the school a better place. Finally, this year I became an NHS tutor, and I didn't realize how much I would love it. It's really fun to teach others new things and to see that look of excitement whenever they get it. And I'm currently tutoring one kid who is just so much fun because he's a really cool guy, and I hope he gets everything he deserves in life and more. I'm currently studying financial management in order to achieve my long-term goal of Chief Financial Officer. While I was doing my career outlook assessment, I found out several things that a Chief Financial Officer has to do that I didn't know before. For example, they have to make sure all financial reports are accurate and ready for the IRS, and that there's no fraud or any misgivings within it. They have to make sure all the tax statements are correctly filed and received. They have to make sure they are in charge of all the budgets for everyone and everything. Any project has to go through them to get money. Any field, any wages, any and everything goes through them to make sure that the budget is correct, which often makes them the villain in the company because they do have to say no quite a lot. But it's a can't live with them, can't live without them kind of relationship. So they're very essential. They also make sure all their investments are contracted correctly and that are being carried out correctly. And one of the major things they have to do for a company is look at market trends all the time in the economy. For example, if they were to see a recession start to come, they would try to plan ahead for the company and try to start making budget cuts, making everything more efficient. And while the company should be efficient anyway, there's always a couple of things that slides, so they have to really make sure that they're seeing the economy for what it is. A major thing with any leadership position is teamwork. And personally, I'm a person who's a perfectionist, so I will want to do everything myself in order to make sure it's perfect for me. But as a leader, you can't do that unless I don't want any sleep for the rest of my life. I have to make sure that the work is being filtered out to the correct people and that everyone has something to do so that they're not just sitting there. And then if they don't understand something, that I can be able to teach them how to do it the way I would like it so that everything can just work efficiently and correctly. And also something I did not know at all was that not only does the company depend on the Chief Financial Officer, but the role that we have largely depends on the company. So for example, if you were a privately owned small company, there's just the CEO and CFO. So the CFO might take on a lot more roles. They might try to get more hands-on experience with each department. They might be able to become the COO at the same time. They have a lot more freedom to do with their job. But if you were to become a part of a multi-million-dollar public company, you have a lot more restrictions set upon you by the board of directors, the government, and anyone and anything else. So while you have a lot more to handle, it's also much more limited. Going on to assessments. At first, my article searches, because that's mainly what I did my research assessments on, was very easy because it was all right there and I've never done that before. But after going through the first 3 or 4, that was all there was, so it became very, very difficult to find articles. But I was able to find a couple that were really great. One was called A Route to the Top, and it really talked about, especially for women, making it into leadership roles into big businesses, because it's especially hard for us. And they said education, so for me that'd be accounting, majoring in accounting, which I'm planning to do next year. Experience, which means working your way in the company by providing the correct morals and the correct work. And then growth, I say that because in the next few years, steadily it's growing, not as fast as some of us would like, but it is expanding the percentage of women in the chief financial roles. So that's a very good, very good for me. The second one I had was Eye to the Future. And one of the main points it talked about that not a lot of people know is that it's essential to have a good trustee relationship. A trustee is someone who invests in the company with their personal monies, for example, a major shareholder or a board of director maybe. And so what people don't know is often the chief financial officer has to fly out and meet one-on-one with those trustees, especially the major ones, to make sure that everything that they're wanting in the company is happening, to make sure that their money is safe and secure, and then just have a good relationship so that they keep that trust within the company. The main thing I got experience from was my interviews. Starting off, I was very awkward because I've never conducted an interview. I've always been the interviewee, so it was interesting to see what it's like on the other side. Sadly, the man Walter Floyd, wasn't used to being the interviewee either, so it was slightly awkward because I had to really push to keep the conversation going, and I've never really had to push so hard before. But it made me better off for the next interview, which I had with Mike Russell, who is the CFO of Continental Wireless. And it was such an ease and flow about it that I never really had before. It was an hour-long conversation, and I learned so much in that 1 hour. It was amazing, honestly. And the way I viewed it was you have to start off with one question, maybe about their past or how they got there, and you kind of feed off the answer. So you'll ask a question about the answer that they provided, and then you ask a question about that. And it's almost like a tree, like you just keep on growing the branches, and that's how you easily create a good flow for the interview. Next, I went to Stephen Bell, who is the senior controller for 7-Eleven. Basically, he's in charge of the financial statement, making sure it's correct. And it was amazing, first off, because I went to the headquarters for 7-Eleven, and it was right in the hubbub of downtown Dallas. So it was across from AT&T Performing Arts Center in Booker T, Washington, and quite frankly, it was a beautiful building. It was modern and really high-tech and amazing. But what was the best experience for me was that after I kind of gained his trust, and after we really talked about what I needed to know, he showed me the actual financial statement for 7-Eleven, and it was amazing to see the billions of millions of dollars that they had on that sheet that talked about everything they had, all their budgets, what they saved, and it really motivated me to keep going in this field. Stephen Bell later on referred me to Ivan Maskey. He is from Great Britain and has a heavy and fast accent, as in he talks very quickly with a very accent, and it's very hard to understand, but I was able to pick up most of it, which is good. But what it really opened my eyes to is that in the future, I'm going to be dealing with a lot of foreign people who may not speak English as well, or maybe not at all, and so I'm going to have to really learn to pick up various accents very quickly so that I'm not asking that repetitive question of what did you say. One of the biggest interviews I had that had the most advice, more tailored to me, I felt, was from Biggs Porter, He's very much like me in that he's a perfectionist and an introvert, and he was more calm than I would normally be, but it was really cool. He was the one who gave me the advice about really divvying out your work so that you're able to sleep at night and not have to stay up late working. He also gave me the advice on teaching others what you have learned so that they can learn more, and so that you can, it's basically investing in your employees without having to spend money by teaching them new ways, teaching them how to calculate new things and how to work with people better. He also told me to not be afraid to take on really hard projects. For example, if you were hired by a company that might be about to go under, if you were able to bring that company up from basically the bottom, people are going to notice that and you'll get hired for better positions and higher paying ones. So he really gave me the advice to not be afraid to just rush into the fire. Sharon McCollum also gave me that advice, and that is one of the last people I interviewed. And I actually did it through a conference call, which I had never done before. And it was interesting to not have that face-to-face connection, but still be able to connect in a way. I was actually very confident going in, especially after the first couple minutes when I realized what kind of a spitfire she was, and it was very cool. Not only that, but she is one of the top 20 CFOs in the nation, and she tripled Best Buy's profits in the past 3 years. Plus, she's one of the few women in the industry, so meeting with her was amazing. And she really gave me the confidence to keep on going. And she told me that not only are women in the industry growing, but she could see a future for me in this industry, especially if I kept up this work ethic. So I felt very happy afterwards. Finally, my mentor is Mike Russell. I mentioned him before. He is the CFO of Continental Wireless. And it was really cool because the first time I went in, he immediately had exactly what we were going to do, that I was going to go into conferences, that he was going to provide scenarios for me, which I had to answer on how I would do it. And then he would even show me blank financial statements and have me fill in the blanks. He even let me tour the facility, and overall, it was a very great first mentor visit, and I'm excited to work with him in the future. Thank you for listening.